Good morning. You can be seated. Good morning. Uh, we're going to look at the story with a question in the middle of it. Jesus had this very unique approach to conversations where he would raise questions. You know, if you look at the dialogues and conversations Jesus would have on the pages of the Gospels, of his biographies, he would always put a question in the very center of it. And that's his peculiar way of talking to a person, talking to a crowd. He would not necessarily deliver a message directly, even though there are plenty of passages, a teaching material where he does that. But in very unique way, peculiar way, he would put a question in the middle of it, and he would not answer that question for you. He would have a situation hanging where you have to face it yourself. So we're looking at a story where right in the middle of it, there is a question that demands an answer. And it's a question that Jesus is still raising today, and he's asking you and me. And it's a beautiful story. It's a story where the disciples are somewhere in between. Jesus rose from the dead, but he hasn't given them instructions what to do next. So he had showed up to them a couple of times, once a week. And here we have his third appearance, but they don't have clear instructions. I think their minds are super vague. He's very elusive in his movements, and there is this very confusing position for them. And we find them right in the middle of it. And before we move to that story, I want you to show my beautiful picture. I put this letter upside down. And I want you to remember this, because this is how, at times, and I'm afraid we do it a lot of times, when we put our spiritual life upside down. Yet we may get frustrated, upset that it doesn't work. And a ladder like that will not get you up. You'll get down really quickly. I'm not sure if you can climb maybe a couple of steps, and you'll end up in collapsing down. So this is the way it's supposed to work. And with me, having years following Jesus, I've been coming to this slowly but surely, that this is the only way how life with Jesus, life in the church, my personal walk with him is going to work. And I want you to see 3 points. These 3 points are taken out of the story we're going to read. And these 3 points, I put them in this sequence, 3, 2, 1, where step number 1, Jesus serves us, is sitting at the very bottom. So this is the ladder in the correct position. Where Jesus serving us is the foundation, is the ground we start building off of. So we climb up with the step number 1, where Jesus is serving us. As a second step is our relationship, our heart to him. We love Jesus. And at the very top is us giving our hearts to others, serving others. And I'm afraid that at times, and I may be guilty as one of the pastors here at Bethl community, asking people to serve where it's a position number 3. And I may call people to do something, and there's no foundation, where a person or people would actually receive the service of Jesus to them as their foundation, and then work, if I can apply, work to love, relationship with Jesus. And at the top, we come only to serving others. I'll explain this, and it'll be, I hope, clear as we proceed through the passage. Jesus serves us. That's number one. That's his heart. I want you to remember point 1, 2, and 3. And the point 1 at the foundation, step number 1 at the very ground level. Look at how Jesus is serving you today. This is Jesus serving you today. Open your eyes, open your heart, and receive that service. Again, let's read the story, and it will become clear. I'm going out to fish. Peter told them, and they said, we'll go with you. So they went out and got into the boat, but that night they caught nothing. Peter is a natural, charismatic leader of the 12. They are his companions, friends, 6 of them. Altogether, there's just a crowd of 7. And that reminds me of a good leadership principle, by the way. People love to be led. So there's one person who is he's very active, and he doesn't like to sit idle. He's like, we got to do something. We're in the middle. Jesus got himself out of the grave. There is no clear instructions. Okay, we're going to do what we are accustomed to do. We're going to go and at least get something to eat. So they go out. The friends follow him. Early in the morning, apparently the disciples had been out on the sea fishing all night long. Early in the morning, Jesus shows up on the scene. He's standing. Jesus stood on the shore, but the disciples did not realize that was Jesus. He called out to them, friends, haven't you any fish? No, they answered. Apparently, there's a high position on the shore, and the echo is working really well where they can hear him and they can see him. So there's a communication going on. He said, throw your net on the right side of the boat and you'll find some. When they did, they were unable to hold the net in because of the large number of fish. When they landed, they saw a fire of burning coals there with fish on it and some bread. Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. Jesus came, took the bread and gave it to them, and it did the same with the fish. This was now the 3rd time Jesus appeared to his disciples after he was raised from the dead. This is a very beautiful moment of Jesus serving his disciples. First appearance, he's just showing them the wounds from the crucifixion. The second appearance is when he's comforting and doubting Thomas, again showing him and the rest his wounds on the side, right side, again his pierced hands and legs, and now we encounter him serving serving disciples. The beautiful thing about it is that he's not only helping them with a large amount to catch those 153, the text tells us. He is fixing them a breakfast for hungry, hangry men. He's fixing the breakfast. I have normally a day, I have 2-3 breakfasts each morning. So if the food supply doesn't come in on the regular basis before noon, I become sometimes unmanageable to myself. And this is the beauty of it. Jesus, before he gives any instructions, before he does anything, he is serving his disciples. And the service is done in fixing a beautiful meal right there on the shore. You've seen those videos when a person would go into the woods in the wild and somewhere like up high in the mountains, and all of a sudden you see those expensive utensils and expensive silverware, and that person is fixing a dinner, just showing off. But there is no show. It's just fire, coal, and fixing fish and bread. Just a beautiful, beautiful picture of Jesus before anything. And this is where love starts. The same author, the same John, the apostle, would write later these. This is real love, not that we love God. I was just talking this morning with one lady, and she was referring to, let's say, to her friend, being afraid to get baptized on the basis of the fact that what if I fail that commitment to God? What if I fail? And this is a fear we have at times, and I'm afraid a lot of times that we are hanging on to our own abilities to hang on to God. Whereas the beauty of the gospel, the beauty of the story here is that the real love is that God loved us. And there's a second part, but he loved us and sent his son as a sacrifice to take away our sins. We are loving Christ. We're loving God as secondary love. We love as a response to his love. And that's the foundation. That's the step number one. Christ doesn't stop serving us after his resurrection. You would imagine. Have you seen, maybe at work, have you seen those who would be working along with you, and then all of a sudden they get promoted? That person gets promoted, she or him, and then all of a sudden his attitude changes. He becomes bossy, or she becomes bossy. A little bit. Position requires you to keep a little distance. The voice may change. Attitude certainly changes in how he or she just gives out commands and expects the service, because him now is carrying this title, and that's called entitlement. That's not leadership, that's management. Jesus is showing true spiritual leadership. You would think that after conquering death, sin, and hell, he was like, guys, have you caught anything? No, run around, go to bazaar, go to the market, get something to fix. I'm hungry here. We got to talk. We got a business to do. There is none of that. There's none of that. As he had been serving them before, he's serving them now with true heart, showing right there on the breakfast. This is the beauty. This is the foundation. If we turn things around, we get in trouble. We get nervous. We get unstable. Once we're grounded in Jesus, everything starts to fall in its place. Number two, that's where the question, the most important question is. We love Jesus. We love Jesus. Ask yourself the most important question again and again. Do I love Christ? Do I love Christ? Today, during the day, right now, at the very moment, we're in his church. Ask this question: do I love Christ? Am I fond of him? A lot of times, maybe we should rephrase it and say, do I like him? We can phrase this beautiful thing, I love him, but do you like him? Do you like him? Ask yourself this question again and again. Do I love Jesus? So, read the passage again. When they had finished eating, that's the key. The hungry men are not evil any longer. They're feeling good. They're ready for the conversation. They're ready to receive. They are happy now. We get food, we get those happy hormones in our bodies, and we're relaxed and we're ready for the conversation. This is how Jesus' technique works. He serves us, and then he is asking questions. He's not catching us in the middle of something. He's not nervous. He's not showing off his emotions. He fed the guys, and he's asking the question. That's the beauty of it. That's the sequence of the whole thing. That sequence. He's serving us. He's asking a question. When they finished eating, Jesus said to Simon Peter, Simon, son of John, do you love me more than these? No time to discuss what that means. More than these, there are different interpretations. The point is, he's asking, raising the question, do you love me? Yes, Lord, he said. You know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my lambs. Feed my lambs. Again, Jesus said, we don't know the time lapse between the first question and the second one. I imagine that they keep the conversation, they're looking at the fire, they're enjoying the sunset, or the sunrise. And Jesus again is asking, Simon, son of John, do you love me? He answered, yes, Lord, you know that I love you. Jesus said, take care of my sheep. The third time he said to him, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Peter was hurt because Jesus asked him the third time, do you love me? He said, Lord, you know all things. I know you know that I love you. Jesus said, feed my sheep. Yesterday I received a very disturbing text message, and the most disturbing thing was that the message came from my relatives, and they said that they're booked a vacation to Mexico, go to Mexico in June, and that's very disturbing. I cannot rejoice with them. That's a joke, you can laugh. They're going, I'm not. That's the disturbing part. Imagine yourself, you're there, you just arrived to a hotel, whatever shore you're in, whatever resort you're in, Florida, you're doing yourself, doesn't matter. You are in your Airbnb, you're at your hotel room, and you start preparations. Like, what do we do? So if we go out on the beach, should we eat first? Do we have enough food? What if we get hungry swimming in the sea? Wait, the child may ask, can I get on the balcony? Father, Daddy, can I step on the... No, you gotta put your sunscreen on. Have you seen those people with triple layers of they look like zombies, like dead people rose from the grave and walking down the streets or beaches of it's scary. Imagine this, you're paralyzed by indecision. You don't know what to do. We're buying food, we're fighting those, things, rubber, whether plasticky thing that's float on the surface. Do we eat? Not. We pack? Not. What we gotta change? We gotta put the sunscreen on. You're paralyzed, and time is going by and going by. You're losing the precious vacation time. And a lot of times, I am afraid that's what we do with expressing love for Jesus. Jesus is asking a simple question: Do you love me? And we're at times like, what do we do? How do we? What does that mean? Does that require me spending certain time with Him? Where do I start? How do I pray? Do I read the Bible 3 times a day, 5 minutes a day? Do I do it with a certain plan? How do I build that? How do I structure my spiritual life? And Jesus is just, I believe, just asking you a question. Do you love me? You're on the beach. Just go out, forget the stupid sunscreen, just go jump into the water and relax. Do you love me? Do you love me? And I believe the most important thing about love is attention. When you're in love, you fix your eyes on that person. You have time to look at that person. You have time to ask questions. You show some kind of interest. You give presents. You are enjoying time together. That's the key. That's all. I'm giving out family advice, by the way. You can write it down. Love is expressed in giving attention. That's all. However you structure it. We may call it quiet time. I don't think even the phrase works for the guys, quiet time. Just for a man to think that I gotta sit quiet, idle, doing nothing, feels like indecision, feels like inaction, feels like laziness. I do prayer better when I walk, jog. I do a little bit of that when I am engaged in something. And I think that the language betrays that we try to put that love expression to certain categories where they don't work. My advice to you, just do whatever works. Just give your attention to Jesus. That's it. Don't get paralyzed with certain techniques or how and what. You can learn from other ancient traditions, modern contemplatives, those spiritual gurus, whatever works for you. But the most important thing is build your life around Jesus in His presence. And I want to say this, that Bethl community is built around the living Christ and His presence in our midst. That's my heart. That's what's been building up in my heart. Programs don't work. Entertainment doesn't work. What draws people to church is real presence of Christ in our midst. Everything else fails. Everything else is fake. We're trying to compete with the world. We're trying to imitate some programs that may work and elsewhere. We're trying to get some certain growth program, whatever program it is, and that turns into just an expression of some sort of devotion and religion to God, but we lose the most precious, fragile thing, and that's the presence of living Christ in our midst. And that's what I want to declare. That's what I want to emphasize, underline. I want to build and dedicate our time to this again and again. Do we love Jesus? And it should be simple. It's not complicated. It's expressing, uttering the words, doing everything to build our time together, the church, the fellowship, whatever we do around the living presence of the resurrected Christ. That's what we have to cherish. That's what we have to protect. That's what we want to strive for. That's what we want to be gathered around. That's the most precious. Do we love Jesus? And only lastly, we get to step number 3, we serve people. Again, I want to revisit. Jesus serves us. He fixes us a breakfast, a meal. He gathers us together and shows His heart for us. His heart is for us. He is meek. He is lowly. He is willing to receive, embrace us again and again and again. Do you have fish? You don't have fish? No problem. I'll get you some fish. You're hungry, you're tired, you're exhausted. Come to me. I'll give you rest. That's where we start. That's where we serve out of a heart of Christ, not vice versa. We don't strive to receive the heart of Christ. We are called to be in rest in his heart. And then we express that love, giving him attention. And our recent time with fast and prayer, it's not a spiritual discipline that's about us. It's actually removing any sort of garbage, any sort of layers that would prohibit us from pure, simple love for Christ. And the fast time, the Lent, is all about that, where we get ourselves in a second place and say, Jesus, you are number one. And then and only then we serve people. Take care of people in your circle. This is your ministry to Christ. Whoever is on your orbit, whoever is on the life circle you have, those are the people God is giving you to serve. It's as simple as that. He's telling him 3 times, take care of my sheep, tend my lamb, meaning those people in your care, those people in your circle of influence. That's your field of influence. And I want you to know that this is the spiritual leadership. You are anchored in the love of Christ, and you're serving people with that love. A leader in a secular environment is asking people to follow him. In the church environment, whatever you're doing, whatever ministry you're doing, in this church environment, you are taking people to follow Christ. You're serving them so they follow Christ. You're not getting in the middle. You're not, and that's the problem with the church management, where a leader becomes a center of attention. As we serve people in our care, in our circle, we are not trying them to focus on us, what we're doing. We are fixing their eyes on Jesus himself. That's the art of leading people, taking care of people in the spiritual environment. We're calling them, not to ourselves, we're calling them to fall in love with Christ. And that's a huge difference. The emphasis is so subtle at times. And that's where frustrations comes in. That's where false expectations come in. That's where we cannot fulfill people's dreams, and the people may get disappointed because you've been calling them to yourself. You cannot fulfill people's dreams and aspirations and spiritual those achievements. No, we're calling people to follow Christ. That's the beauty of it. And if we get that formula upside down, we collapse, and people do fall down, get hurt, get frustrated. There's this term, church hurt. That's where it comes from. A leader disappoints. Any human is fragile. And that's where we get it wrong. So demonstrate hospitality beyond their expectations. What Jesus is doing, he is demonstrating a level of absolutely crazy hospitality. He shows up early on the scene. He is giving them concrete instructions how to catch a good catch of fish. When they get on the shore, the breakfast is already fixed. He's getting more fish on the coals. He is lading, and did you notice there is a sentence saying that he is actually giving them the fish and the bread. He is not sitting somewhere nearby looking at his phone. He's actually engaged in the conversation and actually giving them food. He's serving the table. He's putting the food on their plates. So demonstrate hospitality beyond those you serve, who are in the circle of influence God has given you. Just surprise them with your level and quality of service. Whatever that can be. It can be $200 gift card, fake gift card to a restaurant. They go and they cannot cash. I'm just kidding. Just you go and you be with them. You invite them somewhere. You just show them love in those ways. And the beautiful thing, one of the most just incredible thing of Christianity. That's what I love. That's why I follow Christ. That's why I believe it works and really builds my faith, is that love is a doomed to fail strategy that keeps changing the world. If I was a founder of a new movement, I wouldn't have built it on love. It's such a fragile, it's elusive. You cannot pin this down. You cannot demand love. You cannot corner people into like, love me or else. There's none of that. What Jesus gives them is just, he doesn't give them tactical points, how that love should be expressed. He gives them a direction to follow. Love is a doomed to fail strategy. And surprisingly, it's been changing the world. We have, as the church, the most amount of people than any other organizations in the world. We have presence in every country. We have the most amount of good happening in the world, because this crazy love of Christ has been changing our culture. And this is our weak point, because if there is no love, we are doomed. We're being criticized by the world that we are not adding up to our standard. We're very vulnerable, because love is love, and people are expecting us to, act in that level. People are expecting the church to be the most elevated place of love in the world, and we fail. People notice that, and that's hurtful. But it's the only strategy we have to change the world, to change the circle, to be the influence for the world. We're going to take communion. Jesus is the center. We're building our lives. We're building the life of the Bethl community around the presence of Christ. Everything else is secondary. Programs, whatever we do, those are techniques, and they are not the life of our church. This is hard to do. This is a very fragile thing to build. This is a very high calling on all of us. But we just do it with the most sincere hearts, with the most frank attitude of our hearts, and we just ask, Holy Spirit, come, reveal to us the heart of Christ. Holy Spirit, come, change us. Holy Spirit, come and build this culture of Jesus in our midst.